Hi, I'm David.
And I'm Abby.
And we're Peter and Daniel.
Join us in this video as we travel north from the Midwest states of Kansas and Iowa all the way up to Wisconsin, where we'll stop at the House on the Rock and then go to Mackinac Island in Michigan. So it's been a whirlwind driving day, and yesterday as well, kind of going from one stop to the next, to the next, to the next really quickly, through Kansas into Missouri, and then now today into Iowa.
Got our magnets.
We got all three magnets too. We did really good. So we were driving through Iowa, and right as we get closer to our camp stop, we stopped on I-80 at the world's largest truck stop. And this was a really cool, wildly large place. Buc-ee's is very big in Texas,
Yep.
but this is even bigger than any Buc-ee's we went to. Interestingly, not the part where you fuel. Like Buc-ee's has just way more like gasoline stations where you can fill up, but the
Okay.
actual interior of the section is basically a mini mall.
Yeah.
It's got 5 or 6 different fast food restaurants. There's sections of merchandise ranging from toys for kids to clothes to memorabilia. And then they have a buffet restaurant, and they even have across the street a trucking museum. Like it's just
Even
they
a barber shop. I was excited about that, but they were closed.
Yeah, they did have a barber shop, and we were thinking maybe for our boys we'll get them a haircut. But yeah, they were closed, unfortunately. They even have a laundry facility for truckers. It's just, they really went all out for the truckers that are coming through this part of the country. It was a really neat stop. Just one of those nice road trip places, just kind of
Yes.
take a moment and stretch your legs.
Iowa is beautiful, though. It's so full of greenery. But it's so funny. I just remember singing the song I-O-W-A-O, I Love Iowa, from the musical State Fair. But I never thought in a million years I'd be here. So go figure. You never know what God's got in store.
That's right. So we're going to continue our journey and stop and set up the night at a farm that we're going to be staying at. Farm tonight is in Bellevue, Iowa. It's through Harvest Hosts. And we're really excited to get to meet our hosts and experience what it's like to live on their farm for an evening. So really excited for this respite before we head further on our trip. We are here at the House on the Rock in Spring Green, Wisconsin, and we're going to get to experience the house inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright and built by Alex Jordan. As you enter the House on the Rock, you start in a modern gatehouse added in the last 20 years. You immediately get a sense that you're in for a unique experience. After you purchase your tickets and/or tokens, we ended up picking 20 to 30 or so to power the music machines he has throughout the experience. You walk through a beautifully laid out Japanese garden, complete with bridges over ponds, waterfalls, fountains, and more. What do you guys think of the garden so far?
I really like it. It's just beautiful.
Garden.
It's a great way to start the day, huh?
Especially when it's not crazy hot.
As you complete the entry garden segment, you start your tour in the Alex Jordan Center, where we learned about Alex's life, what inspired him to create the house in the first place, and fueled his passion for collecting unique and eccentric things over the years. We learned that he started out by picnicking on this rock in the middle of the woods in Wisconsin. After a farmer who owned the land he was picnicking on discovered him coming back again and again, Alex offered to buy the land the rock was on, which led to the eventual construction of the house of his own design and much of his own handiwork. As time went on, passers-by became curious about what was going on that rock over there. So he began charging admission for guests to tour his home, and eventually his collections he added on. Alex's original house on the top of the rock is a unique mixture of different cultures and global influences in the 20th century. Much of the house itself is made of local stone and wood, with modern amenities like electricity, running water, and more added over time. As you enter his house, you see one of the first automated music machines, of which there are dozens spread throughout the entire tour. Alex also had a love of stained glass lamps and windows, several of which are on display in his original home. As you continue through his home, you'll find a variety of narrow hallways, sitting rooms, and kitchens. Throughout the home, you'll find walls and flooring that are the direct rock the house is built upon. It's incredible his vision and how well it was brought to life. Eventually, you'll find yourself at the infinity room, an optical illusion that gives the impression of a room that goes into infinity. This cantilever-designed room has no structural support directly below it, so on windy days you can feel the room move as you walk further along it. You also get spectacular views of the wooded area around from this vantage point. Once you visit the infinity room, you'll finish exploring the main house, where each room is filled with additional music machines, additional stained glass lamps, all of which are surrounded by interesting and unique hand-built architecture. What do you think of his house and the gatehouse?
Very unique that it's built into the rock, but very dark and kind of creepy. But I mean, it is very unique how he built in the rock. Not a lot of people could build in a natural environment just because they saw, oh, that's a pretty rock. You know, nowadays it's like, nope, you need a permit, you need this, you need that.
That's true. This would be a hard project to do in 2025.
Yep.
The tour then continues from the original main house and gatehouse into the mill. This is the third building Alex Jordan worked on and primarily serves as a place to store and display more of his collections. In the mill house, we saw a variety of guns and muskets, penny banks, doll collections, and even Fabergé eggs. The mill house is also home to several more musical machines. When you leave the mill house's main area, you'll enter what is called the Streets of Yesterday, an exhibit that Alex designed to try and recreate what old-timey shops would have looked like 100 or so years ago. Most of the shops have impressive window displays that you can look into, like the toy shop. Some you can walk into, like the fire station with its old-timey firefighting equipment, and the apothecary with its collections of old tonics and early medicines to solve all of your ailments. Towards the ends of the Streets of Yesterday, you'll come across the first grand-scale music machine, the Gladiator, which is a full-scale calliope. This is probably my favorite of all the grand music machines, with its simple but majestic rendition of Yankee Doodle Dandy. The Streets of Yesterday marks the transition point where you begin to leave the original architectural vision of the house and journey more into Alex's vast collections that he accumulated and built warehouses to store, each of which has its own theme. The first of these tours is called The Heritage of the Sea and is a vast, 3-story naval exploration collection. This is probably my favorite exhibit besides the house itself. In the center of the room, you'll find a giant whale being attacked by an octopus. You slowly experience this massive creation by walking around the room on an ever-increasing in height ramp. All along the ramp are window displays of incredible ship models from different eras. At the top, they even have a model of the Titanic right as it struck the ill-fated iceberg. As you leave, they also have a Little Mermaid-like music machine made custom for this room that plays the octopus's garden. After the Heritage of the Sea, you enter an area called the Music of Yesterday. This is where the largest and most unique music machines are found. Some are smaller in size, but still massive, whereas others absorb entire rooms. Our favorite was the Blue Room. It has an opulent touch to it that feels very Georgian and Victorian in style. The next series in the rooms, I have to say, really feel different than the entire first half of the tour. Honestly, I think you could skip it and still feel like you'd really gotten a very complete experience. To me, this last section of the tour feels like at this stage in Alex's life, he was struggling with his beliefs and unsure what he believed life was really all about and what purpose he had on this earth. Everything seems to just take a much darker turn, literally and figuratively. That said, we enjoyed our visit to the House on the Rock, especially getting to experience Alex Jordan's audacious vision of creating a home primarily of his own design and handiwork on top of a rock in the middle of the Wisconsin forest. Before leaving, we got to snap a photo of our family next to the Howe Bicycles poster. This has been a long-standing Howe family tradition for generations every time that we get to visit. We just got done visiting the House on the Rock near Spring Green, Wisconsin. This is a place that I've been to. This is my 4th time. I went when I was about Peter's age, and then as a late teenager, and then I got to take my grandfather and grandmother there maybe a dozen years ago. And I've always dreamed of one day being able to take my children and my wife to be able to experience it. It really is a unique place. It's somewhere that you can describe to someone else, and maybe you'll capture some of the essence, but you won't be able to capture quite the scale of it, or I think scale is a good word. The scale of it is pretty crazy. So it's an intense experience, I guess, the best way I can describe it.
Very avant-garde, eccentric. I really like the architectural idea of like building an actual house on a rock. Just like people say, oh, you can't do that. And, well, I'm going to do that.
You want to talk about the dollhouses?
Yes. So when I was a little girl, I loved my dollhouse. And my mom and I would collect furniture. And that was a really great hobby of mine. So it was really cool to see some of these dollhouses, which I was flabbergasted, heck, to see this beautiful dollhouse in the women's bathroom right at the start. And I'm like, that was enough for me. And then come to find out he has over 250. I'm like, that's really
And they're
crazy.
massive.
Yeah,
these aren't small dollhouses.
No.
These are massive mansion
it's
dollhouses. They had all these different styles of homes too.
Yes, I love that, he had the traditional, this dollhouse that you think of, but then he also had like English cottage styles, like more with thatched roof. And then he had a replica of the crown jewels. I'm like, okay, why not? Why not have the replica of the crown jewels in your house? And then there was a replica of Buckingham Palace with the guards and things. So I was like, that's kind of funny.
That was actually built in London.
Okay.
And he purchased it, and it was from London. There was a placard for that.
Okay.
So, Peter, what was your favorite part of the House on the Rock?
That's hard to say, but I think I like the beginning.
Yeah?
Like the Japanese style looking garden was.
What did you think
I
of
just
the
really liked it.
Heritage of the Sea?
That looks so cool. A whale is coming out of the water. Really giant whale. I cannot even describe how big it was. Like coming out of the sea and being grabbed all over its entire body by a giant kraken. And it was just an epic fight scene. In the whale's mouth, there was literally on its tongue a literal boat on its tongue. Poor guy, whoever was in it, probably got destroyed.
So we're about 2/3 of the way done with the road trip, and
How are you feeling?
good. It's difficult. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I feel good, but it's like a constant. I feel like I have to.
Work at trying to feel good about it.
Yes, but it's not me. I have to focus on God and on His reminder to us that He's got this plan, and we're working day by day through it, and we're not every day going to have full vision on where it's going. And that takes, again, it's not work on my part so much, it's just focusing that.
It's releasing, submitting to God, because it's so easy for us to unravel at this point and be like, oh my gosh, we're almost to August. We don't have anything lined up. What the heck? Oh my God. You know, that's such an easy way for your mind to go, but then we have to remember all that God has done. So just think, if God has done all that, don't you think he will do it more in the future?
I liked what you said about we have to surrender and remember this is a special time. God is telling us this is a special time. When Noah spent 40 days on the ark, that he didn't, at the end of those 40 days, he didn't stay on the ark. He got off the ark, and that must have been scary because the ark was a place of refuge for so long. So there's a sense of excitement about what's next, but also probably a sense of trepidation. And so, whereas we don't know where we're going next and how we're going to get there, we know that this part of the journey does have a shelf life.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to wait to see what God does. He's going to figure that out.
Yeah.
On the job hunt search, we've had, let's see, I've got with one company, I'm in the late stages of interviewing. And then I have, I think, 3 other companies that are in the pre-interview, but promising looking stage. And they're saying, you know, hey, I think we're going to talk, let's just wait, or whatever it might be. So it could be one of those 4 situations, or it could be a totally different situation that gets us to the UK. So it's an interesting exercise in patience and training in not having to know everything, to be able to take each step and to appreciate what you have each day of the journey.
Yes.
So that's been good for us and good for the kids. A fellow on LinkedIn saw my post a month ago about us taking this faith journey, and he reached out to me and wanted to set up a call and talk about his faith journey and share tips and tricks about working at Blizzard and other places that we've been. So we hopped on a video call maybe 3 weeks ago and got to know each other for the first time. But he actually found this role that I applied to, and he actually found the recruiter and sent him over to me. So I'm really thankful to him, regardless of how this works out.
And tomorrow, I'm so excited to go to Mackinac Island. This is a very quintessential place where cars are not allowed, an island off of Michigan, but it's kind of near Wisconsin. I mean, it's in the Great Lakes. Yeah.
Sure. Got a couple of weeks left on the trip, and we're just really appreciative of each and every day that God has given us on this journey.
Yes.
Hey guys, it's me, Peter. Right now we're at a playground, and we're doing this because right after lunch, Dad said he had to apply for a job. He's gonna have a meeting. Yeah, that's it, I guess. So, see ya.
We started our day early in the morning catching one of the first ferries to Mackinac Island. Are you excited?
Can't wait.
What are you looking forward to?
Seeing all the sights in the Grand Hotel and seeing where my ancestors went on their honeymoon.
This particular ferry was for the scenic route and took us under the Mackinac Bridge en route to the island. While this ferry added an extra 10 minutes to the trip, the views were definitely worth it. As we got closer and closer to the island, you could start to make out the Grand Hotel, one of several massive and opulent hotels created in the 1850s to 1920s. When we got off the ferry, we were immediately greeted by what makes this island stand out: horses. The island community made a decision to ban cars in 1898 after the first car to visit the island scared the horses. It has now created a precious time capsule where visitors can experience a glimpse into what life was like before cars. We started our time on the island on a carriage ride tour that departed near where we got off the ferry in the downtown area. The carriage tour was narrated with lots of interesting historical stories and facts about the island. We got a great view of Fort Mackinac, which we'd later tour, the island's church, and a more close-up look at the Grand Hotel itself. At the end of the first half of our carriage tour, we got to stretch our legs and explore one of the mini stable areas for the hundreds of horses that are on the island. This was a great step into the last 100 years, checking out carriage styles as they changed throughout the 19th and 20th centuries. We also got to tour a butterfly conservatory with hundreds of different varieties of butterflies. I'm not gonna lie, this started out pretty cool, but then after a little while I realized that there are butterflies literally everywhere. So Peter and I just finished doing the butterfly museum, or what would you call it, a butterfly...
Sanctuary.
Sure. And it was cool at first, but then I think after you see hundreds of them flying around you, we both have this kind of like, we gotta get out of here feeling. So Abby and Daniel are still enjoying it. But then when we came out, it's pouring rain here. There was not a cloud in sight when we went in, and now it's literally pouring rain. So the horses are getting wet and the carriages are still running. So we'll see, we might be getting a wet ride back.
Gosh, this is just a beautiful place. I can tell that we're almost to New England because it definitely doesn't feel like the Midwest, any other place of the country anymore. It definitely feels more New England vibe. The boys are experiencing a blacksmith right now. So they're still. But they were loving being on the water this morning. And we had a beautiful carriage ride that will continue in a little bit here. We had the best fudge, the chocolate and walnut fudge, the original. It's so cool that I'm following in my great-grandparents' footsteps where they went on their honeymoon here. My dad's mom's mom came here on her honeymoon and went to the Grand Hotel. And the cheapest is $1,200 a night. And they have a beautiful pool. But if you want to dip your toes in, it's $120 per person. So I don't think we're partaking in that, but we'll probably walk through the lobby later on. But this is just a beautiful place that we have the privilege to be.
We continued our carriage ride to complete our tour of the island and get back to the main town. En route, we stopped at Fort Mackinac, which serves as both a museum and a restaurant with arguably the best views on the island. For lunch, we split a half-English high tea and a burger. The museum and fort itself is actually pretty incredible, with a good mix of kids' activities where Peter and Daniel got to build their own fort, dress in different time period uniforms, as well as learn a lot about what life was like here at the fort. The fort is full of dozens of different buildings with different exhibits that you can freely explore, all the while enjoying great views of the island throughout. To wrap up our day trip to Mackinac Island, we walked over to see the Grand Hotel. The porch and promenade leading up to the hotel are incredible and by themselves available to explore freely. However, to go inside the hotel lobby, which I would in hindsight recommend that you do have to pay a fee on a per-person basis. The Grand Hotel's lobby is expansive and has multiple interesting areas to check out. So many, in fact, that they provide a helpful map to make sure you don't miss anything. We started our tour by visiting their dog show trophy room and then walking through their art gallery, which led further into the main hotel. Our kids discovered telephone rooms in the back of the hotel. It was really neat getting to show them rotary phones, which I still remember my great-grandmother having when I was a kid. On the lower level of the Grand Hotel, there's a variety of shops that we got to browse through, as well as a tribute to the film Somewhere in Time, starring Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour, which was filmed here on the island and at the Grand Hotel. We finished our visit to the Grand Hotel at Sadie's Ice Cream Parlor, and then we spent a little bit of time on the porch of the Grand Hotel just soaking it all up. It was a beautiful way to close out a beautiful day.
We just finished at Mackinac Island and we're roasting in line. Right, guys?
Yep.
Yep. But was it worth it, family?
Definitely.
Did it live up to the hype?
Yep.
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 You heard it here first, folks.